Just hit the go live button.
You did.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so if y'all can share it, please share it.
Okay, so what do I need to do? I need to go to Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's mind-boggling.
Go to it's mind-boggling. Do y'all see it?
All right.
Yep.
There we go. So y'all are able to share. I'm gonna share this to
And at
my
the bottom it says share. Yes.
Yeah, I got it. I'm gonna share it to the public. I'm sharing it to the public. So can we hear you, Dion? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Yolanda, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Angela, you can hear me too?
I'm actually on Facebook and
Yeah.
looking for it.
Yeah. Okay. So y'all are able to share. I'm gonna share this.
And at the bottom it says share.
Right. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. I'm gonna share it to the public. I'm sharing it to the public. All right. So can we hear you, Dion? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you really well.
Okay.
I'm just trying to. I'm part of the digital divide, so I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find out how to share this. I'm actually looking for it.
This is new for me. Okay.
Well, we can go. I guess I can see it.
Okay.
Did you,
I think we're gonna get some back feed though if we don't mute.
Yeah, I can hear you really well. I'm just trying to. I'm part of the digital divide.
Yeah, I just turned mine off. The sound on my phone.
Trying to find out.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, y'all. Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening.
I guess I can see it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm getting some feedback too. Get some back feed though if we don't mute.
Oh, because you have it on your phone and on Zoom.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I just turned mine off. The sound on my phone.
All right, I turned off the computer.
Okay. Yeah, because there was a lot of people. We're gonna go ahead and get started, y'all. Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening.
Somebody else's is doing it.
It's not mine because I'm not on there.
I'm not on Facebook, period, right now.
Oh, because you have it on your phone and on
Who? Not me.
Zoom. It's feeding back.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was a lot of people. See, there's
Else's is doing it.
Yolanda. What do you have yours
I'm
on?
not on there. I have no idea.
Facebook, period, right now.
What about you, Angela?
Mine is off. It's feeding back.
I wasn't on Facebook. Okay. But it's saying Facebook in the corner up here, but I never
Yeah,
got
because she's live on Facebook.
on. Okay. So
I don't know.
What are you live on?
I'm not. I'm just on the Zoom. My Facebook is not.
Yours on.
Let me see.
I have no idea.
What about you, Angela?
Hold on.
It's feeding back. I wasn't on Facebook. Okay. But it's saying Facebook in the corner up here, but I never
Yeah,
got
because she's live on Facebook.
Right.
Okay. So
I don't know. I don't know.
You know what? Hold on a
I'm
second.
just on the Zoom. My Facebook is not. Yeah, I'm not on either one of them.
So I'm not sure where the echo is coming from.
Yeah, she's live on Facebook.
Right.
I don't know.
You know what? Hold on a
I'm
second.
just on the Zoom. My Facebook is not. Yeah, I'm not on either one of them.
Okay. I'm not sure where the echo is coming from. And we lost Yolanda. Okay, she's back now. I'm just trying to figure out where this echo is coming from.
I was trying to figure out where it's coming from. I don't.
So can we do this, y'all? Can we go out?
Yeah, I'm not on either one of them.
Okay.
Go out and come back in.
Let's go out and come back in. Okay.
Micah says she thinks it's coming on your side.
Just trying to figure out where this.
We're about to go out. Yeah, we're about to go out.
Yeah, let's go out and come back in, okay? So can we do this, y'all? Can we go out?
Go out and come back in.
Yeah, let's go out and come back in. Come back in, okay?
Micah says she thinks it's coming on your side.
But I don't have anything else up. So we're gonna go out.
We're about to go out.
And we're gonna come back in. Yeah. Yeah, let's go out and come back in, okay? So can we do this, y'all? Can we go out? I'm still here. It's still there. Hello? Can y'all hear me?
I'm
I
here.
can hear you. We're here.
Yeah, you too. And the thing is, let me go all the way out.
So I don't see the video.
And I don't hear any feedback
I
now.
don't hear the feedback now.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Now I need to come in.
You're already in, just turn on your video. Come in the video. There you go.
There you go. I
Now
think
we don't hear the feedback.
no
Okay.
feedback.
Now we're live on Facebook too. So this is
Yes.
good.
Yeah, Micah just called in. Micah called on my phone and she was like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, all right. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to say thank you guys for agreeing to be part of this conversation tonight. This is something that I've been wanting to do with for a very long time when it comes to dealing with mental health. So I started this personal blog in which I use to provide resources and just tell about my personal experiences. And I said that I don't have a platform. I don't have a national platform. I don't have a syndicated talk show. I'm not a celebrity, but how can I get the message across? What can I do to have a conversation about something that we are dealing with in our community, but not only in our community, but on a world level, so that people can see that, you know, the everyday people like ourselves, dealing with mental health, and we have resources and the ability to be able to get help when it comes to that. So all of my people on Facebook, I hope you guys are tuning in. I want to say thank you. And I'm going to introduce you all to the panel that we have on here tonight. So our first person that we have on here is Miss Angela Francis, my sister friend from Houston, Texas. Then we also have Miss Yolanda Nichols, my other friend from Houston, Texas, and these are my girls that we call the usual suspects. Okay, a term of endearment. And then we have this young man over here that I'm so glad that accepted the invitation to be part of this conversation tonight, Mr. None other than Robin Hood Dion Wingate himself. So welcome, you guys. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I'm so glad you accepted this invitation to have this conversation with friends. And I put a little quotes around it saying, we ain't crazy, okay? So we're not crazy. Nope. We're just friends that deal with this thing called mental health, okay? And so now we're going to kind of have a conversation. We're going to have a conversation about it, and I hope you guys are ready for this. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Okay. Okay. All right. So, you know, we're going to go ahead and get started. I had my Facebook up because I was trying to see. So I'm going to first start with Yolanda. You guys are going to hear our stories, and I'm going to start with Yolanda first. And Yolanda, what brought you to the point of you realizing that there was something going on with you mentally, emotionally, that made you reach out for help? Could you share your story?
Well, I was in denial for a long time. my doctor kept telling me that things that I was saying that I was feeling was depression. And of course, you know, as African Americans, we do not acknowledge, or, you know, we don't like the word depression. You know, I didn't feel like I was depressed. So I just know that I had a lot of emotions, was crying a lot, didn't want to leave the house, you know, in the dark, or sitting there watching TV all day. And I didn't feel like it was depression. I just felt like, you know, I just didn't want to be bothered with anyone. So she just kept pressing the issue about me being depressed. And finally I went and talked to a psychiatrist. And when I was talking to her, I found out that there was a lot of things that I held on to in my past that was affecting me as I got older. You know, when I was younger, I didn't think about it and it didn't bother me. But as I got older, and with me being single, it felt like it bothered me more. And so it took me into a depression unknowingly.
Wow.
Sometimes I didn't know that you can be depressed and not know that you're depressed.
That was a powerful statement that you said. It took you into a depression unknowingly, but you did recognize that something was not right. And
I felt something wasn't right.
Reach out.
Because I would literally cry in my sleep. You know, I wake up and just tears just hitting the pillow, and I'm like, what's going on? So I didn't know. It was unknowingly. I knew something was wrong, but I just didn't know what it was. And I didn't want to acknowledge the word depressed.
Wow. That's wow. Oof. Yeah, that is something that's hard to bring ourselves to admit. I am depressed. You know what I mean? And because like you said, that's something that we hear all the time. Mental health issues is not something that we like to talk about in the African American community. So that's what this is all about. We are being very transparent and doing this on a social media platform. I have to commend, all of you guys, because and okay, thank you, Andrew. And she said it, you too.
Yeah.
Because it's just something that, you don't go outside of those four walls. You don't go outside of those four walls. Normally, you keep it in the household. What happens in the house stays in the house. But we are acknowledging the issues that we deal with. So, Miss Angela, let's talk about what made you decide, what brought you to the place where you realized that something was going on and you needed to seek help.
Well, my story is a little different in the way my depression, well, I'm not going to say mine. I don't say mine anymore. The depression and anxiety came about mine was anger. Like everything upset me. I was married. I had 3 children. And I mean, it could be a little piece of paper in the corner that maybe just fell off of something and I would go ballistic. And I would take it to a place of, literally like from 0 to 2000, not 100, 0 to 2000. Or if my ex-husband now, but if he would do something, simple, like, I don't know, didn't put a glass up, he asked me to do it, I would go off. And it was like, okay, these things are not that big of a deal for me to be going off like that. And then I would get to the same place that Yolanda said, sometimes being who I am, which is very strange, is that I'll get to a point where I don't want to talk to nobody. And you know that. I get to a place where I delete numbers and people be like, well, wait, hold on. Being out in the public and stuff like that. And so I tried the first attempt. I attempted suicide. And I took 800 pills. My stomach had to be pumped. Wow. And that was my first hospitalization. And being in what I found was being in the county world, I look at things as investments. My children, my relationships, my friendships, my family. And it also has a family history with us. My brother died, and he was bipolar. And so, but he self-medicated.
Wow.
But let's be honest, Black community, we don't talk about this stuff. What happens in the house stays in the house. Even if it's killing you, you don't tell nobody. You don't talk to, and you don't talk about mental illness. There's a stigma behind mental illness. So I never told anybody. I was just portrayed or said things, the words that were used about me was, she's dramatic, she extra, she, she tripping and all of that. And actually I was suffering with mental illness. So when I tried to commit suicide, that's when I ended up in the hospital, and I actually talked to doctors where they explained to me, nothing's wrong with you. Yes, you're depressed, you're anxious, you have anxiety, very bad anxiety, but that's because you look at everything as an investment. So whatever you do, you putting in 1,000%. And when you don't see that investment coming back, whether it's whether it's the kids cleaning up the house, or my ex-husband not saying good morning, those things will send me into a whirlwind. And that's an investment. And so you feel like you're not getting, for me,
A return.
I'm not getting a return on my investment. And so I'm mad and I'm angry. But those were symptoms of the depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
And so it took me a while, because and y'all know, Dion probably doesn't know, but I'm a minister. So it took me a long time to even accept mental illness, or even say, I have mental issues or mental health issues, because as a minister, I'm not supposed to have those problems. Everything is supposed to be okay.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be great at all times. I'm supposed to be ready to encourage at all times.
Yeah.
And not deal with, and not actually deal with the sickness that I'm in. And it's funny, because we say the church is a hospital, but we only want to pick and choose what health conditions we deal with.
Yeah. So and that is really a true statement in sort of a way, when we say we want to pick and choose the things that we want to talk about. We want to pick and choose the things that we want to deal with. We want to pick and choose what we want people to know. But us picking and choosing and keeping stuff internalized, keeping things, just deep down inside, and not having the conversation, or not willing to go outside of the box or get out of our comfort zone and go and talk to somebody when we need help, it's causing breakdowns. It's causing suicidal thoughts. It's causing suicides. It's because we don't want to have the conversations, or we think we're going to be judged. And just so that y'all know, and whoever is watching this on Facebook, this is not a judgment zone. If you're going to judge anybody on this video, please remove yourself right now. I'm just going to put that out there. Please remove yourself right now. This is not a judgment zone. We are having an open conversation about what we deal with, and our hope and our prayer is that somebody is listening and watching, and they say, I need help. Okay. Mr. Dion, the community activist, Mr. Robin Hood himself, the Walk the Runway model, the author, Mr. Dion Woodgate. I met Dion from a Facebook message. Someone introduced me to Dion through Facebook. Before I even moved to North Carolina, I was going to link up with him to do an event, that he was having, and then COVID hit. And so Dion and I have been keeping in touch, talking about different things in the community, and just basically, networking together about different things. So Dion, I'm especially grateful. I'm grateful that all of y'all on here, but I'm truly, truly grateful to see that you are on here, because you are an African-American man and you have a story. And the one thing that our brothers definitely have to do is to understand and realize that mental health issues do not make you a punk. Okay? It does not make you any less than a man. Because we want y'all to be strong. We want y'all to be vulnerable at the same time. We want y'all to say, this is what I'm dealing with. Okay? Because when you guys go outside of that comfort zone and express and are not afraid, then I have to honestly believe that y'all reach more brothers than anybody that reaches anybody else. Because I think more of our men will look at you and other men that have this conversation and be like, you know what? I need some help. So Dion, talk to us. Tell us what brought you to the place of dealing with mental health that made you realize that you needed to get some help.
Well, first, I have to say that that's amazing stories that all you ladies have.
Absolutely.
And I can relate to all of them, from Yolanda's childhood to the minister's brother. Because I've been dealing with mental health. I could say it's hereditary. My mother dealt with it. Now looking back, and I know the knowledge, and that is true that it can be hereditary. I've been dealing with mental health basically all my life. And I would self-medicate, like Minister said her brother would do. I went through life self-medicating with alcohol and drugs to kind of numb the pain, because I didn't understand what was going on with me. Why was I feeling that way? And as Yolanda's saying, I would, and for a man to break down and cry just out the blue, you can only imagine how that felt. Going through that and having to hide it and having to be the tough guy in the streets, and but still dealing with mental illness and you're not knowing what's really going on.
Absolutely.
So I can relate to everyone on the panel really about, you know, about mental health and the different things. But back to your question, to answer your question, it took me being incarcerated to grasp what was really going on, because of how out of control my life had become. So basically throughout my 20s, I was in and out of mental institutions throughout my 20s. Went to several, not from DC to North Carolina, in and out of them. Nobody couldn't, you know, me being African American and not with the proper insurance, as we say, as a Black male, not knowing much about insurance, they would kind of just push me through. Push me through and just diagnose me. I have a different diagnosis every time I came in, you know. And you know, and one of the medications they had gave me one time had led me to suicide. So by the grace of you know, the higher power, I'm here, but I had slipped my wrist. And you know, I woke up in the hospital, and that they diagnosed me as schizophrenia. Just when come to dealing with mental health, just every aspect of it, I've been through the good and the bad. I've been through the psychologist and the psychiatrist, and it took a lot of self-healing. And unfortunately, it took me being incarcerated to get it under control. Because one day in my cell, I just went through my mind, just replayed my life, and was wondering, why was I drinking so excessive? Why was I doing everything so excessive? And I realized that it wasn't me, and it wasn't nothing wrong with seeking help if I didn't want to end back up in the same position that I was in, which was in jail. So when I got out, you know, I made a pact with the Most High God that if I got out of this situation, I wouldn't take another drink, and I would get my life together. So the moment I got released, I didn't go see my daughters. I went straight to an alcohol treatment and seek counseling. I went and signed up for that. When I first got out, that's the first thing I did.
Wow.
And since that day, it's been over 10 years. I haven't had a drink, I haven't been in the hospital, and found ways to deal with depression by a lot of reading, a lot of positive literature. I run every morning, you know, just taking care of myself. And I found my own way to cope.
That's,
you know, feel good about myself. You know,
that's a great way, Dion, actually to lead into the next segment of our conversation. But I'm just going to tell mine real quickly. Was I was in the military for 20 years, 3 months and 3 days. It took me a year after getting out of the military to realize, you know, something was not right. When I came back from my first deployment in 2006, I can honestly say I have not had a lot of good night sleeps since 2006, just coming back from my first military deployment. And once I started going to the doctor, she was like, I think you're depressed. That's what she started telling me. I think you're depressed. But and I wasn't even seeing a doctor. I was seeing a physician assistant. I think you're depressed. Never said, I need to send you to a psychologist. I need to send you to a psychiatrist. Now, 2012 or 16 years later, I'm out of the military and I moved to Houston, Texas. And I started realizing I was not handling situations well. My world was no longer as structured as it was with me being in the military. Nothing was gray area to me. Everything was black and white. And that's when I started having more frequent panic attacks, having more crazy dreams, having more suicidal thoughts, you know, having more suicidal thoughts, you know, just if I go through this stoplight, then maybe somebody will hit me and it will be over with, you know. But thank God, you know, he stepped in and said, but you might hurt somebody else. I came to myself. But breaking down, like Yolanda's saying, just crying all the time. And even by this time, you know, I'm like, let's go see the psychologist. So I'll go and I see the psychologist. Of course, the medication comes in. They try to give me some coping mechanisms, management mechanisms, all of this stuff to try to manage what I was dealing with. And one of the things that I got to the place to where I was afraid to be in, I'm still afraid to be in large crowds. I was going to football games. I was going to the Texans games. And at first it was okay, but then I got to the point where I was saying, if something happens, I have nowhere to run. I have no protection. I'm just as good as dead. Those were my thoughts. So I stopped going to the football games. I went to New Orleans one weekend and I have not been to New Orleans since then because I was scared to death. You know, at the time, my significant other was like, you were squeezing my hands so tight. I literally basically stopped breathing, I think, until we got out of the crowd. I can't do fireworks. I can't do fireworks. I cannot do large crowds. And what you just said, Dion, leads me into the next part of the conversation is how do we manage? How do we deal with our mental health issues? What are some of the things that you do to help manage or deal with your episodes that you may have, or to keep your episodes under control, or just to, you know, if you see it coming or if you feel it coming? What are some of the things that you do to help you manage with depression or manage your anxiety or panic attacks? Dion, you want to keep going into that since you had started segueing into that?
Well, like I said, I'm no psychologist or psychiatrist,
Right.
As you stated before, but me personally, by my experiences, I think it's a customized plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone has their own way of doing that. My way, what I found that works for me is, as I said, listening to a lot of positive literature, and reading a lot of, positive books, and avoiding situations when I see them about to get out of control, or I feel it's about to take me to a place. I'm even dealing with family. I had to cut off some family because sometimes they can be negative, and just love them from a distance. I basically prioritize and put myself first. So self-care, self-care really helped me. But when it came from the drinking, actually the drinking was really the hardest thing to get over through that time. So I even found mechanism with that. I would at first I was Starbucks' best friend. I would go to Starbucks like 3-4 times a day.
Wow.
And just drink, because I was drinking every day. When I say every day, all day, I was drinking. That's how bad, my episode would be. So that's the only way I could maintain and function was to drink. So that was one of the biggest vices that I had through that time was to getting over the drinking. So once I got over the drinking, I began thinking about my body and started running. I don't know what it is about exercise, and I talk to a lot of people. I don't know what it is about exercise. It might be when the endorphins get released when you're steadily going or running or whatever it may be. But that helped me a lot too. So I do the same thing I just have a pattern that I do, a regimen that I do. And like I said, I consider it self-care. I meditate. And I just, I don't let no one take me there, be honest with you, Janet, because I value myself first. I'll walk away from a situation, or if someone called me with some negative news, I know how to deflect the situation now. I know how to deflect the conversation, because I understand now I can't take that negative news like you may take, like somebody else may take. I know that my confrontation, you say something to me the wrong way, it might result in a bad way. And you didn't mean nothing like what you're saying. You get what I'm saying? You probably didn't mean what you were saying. So I realized the triggers. That's what I like to call it. I realized the triggers.
That's another conversation too.
Oh, okay. Well, I apologize.
That's okay.
But I think it's a beautiful thing once I began to love myself, know who I was, and realize it wasn't nothing wrong. That's how I could be transparent and talk about what I've been through. And Yolanda, the thing that we were talking about, and I did a study on this. I went to a couple of classes when you're talking about when we were younger. It's they have this thing called the ACEs. You heard of that?
No.
ACEs. When we get off, you can look at it. It's the study that they're doing that they have developed to show how childhood trauma affects us into adulthood. So it's called Adverse Childhood Experiences. ACEs is actually a program and a study. Because my mother crossed over when I was 4, and I was molested by a male and a female before the age of 10. So it was a lot of different things that I had to cope with, but I'm very free with talking about it now because I know who I am. It don't bother.
You're free.
It don't make me no less than a man.
That's right.
And I do this because in our community, that's the hush hush type conversations
right. Absolutely.
We don't want to hear about that, but it happened. But the only way to prevent it is to speak out about it.
Is to talk about it. That's right.
Yeah. It don't make me, hey, look, I love women. Don't make me no less than a man.
There you go.
I know what I like, but I have no control over what happened then.
Right.
But the depression was coming from me, and I had to find a coping mechanism because of what happened. It made me feel less than a man.
And
But
I know
Right.
I'm long-winded sometimes.
I know Dion can run too, because I see him running all the time. So Angela, let's
Yeah.
talk about real quick, kind of like how do you manage some of the things that you deal with? Unmute yourself, boo. Unmute yourself. There she go.
I wrote some stuff down just so I wouldn't forget, because I know I'll forget. But one is I don't allow myself to get too tired. I try to listen to my body. So if I'm doing too much and I'm too tired and I can feel myself being more anxious than I normally am, I shut it down. And y'all know that. I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to sleep.
Mhm.
And I ain't got no problem telling y'all I'm in the bed. I do take meds every day. I take my medicine faithfully, and I can feel it when I haven't taken it. The other thing is I journal. I journal a lot. Don't talk about it much, but I do journal a lot. And then I don't overcommit. I don't overcommit. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we do to ourselves, is that we always saying yes. And I realized that, guess what? I can say no. I still love you.
Answer.
I still love you. I'm still giving you an answer. I still care about what's going on with you, but I just can't. I cannot do it. And so I try not to overcommit. And then, we all doing this, is exercising.
Yeah.
Exercising.
Yeah.
The walking has been amazing. Amazing. Just even seeing the yes. Because me and her go together. Yeah. And just seeing the even because we do go early, and seeing just the sunrise. It just does something for me. Seeing that, and because we take pictures of it and stuff, Janet, and
my view don't look like it.
But just seeing that view, just being in the nature, and like Dion was saying, I agree totally with the exercise thing. I mean, since we've been walking, we went from not even a mile to now we can do 5 miles. And I'm just like amazed. And that helps me. I mean, that makes my day better, the rest of the day better. So I just try to make sure I'm staying healthy, taking my vitamins, and things like that. And then saying no.
Yeah.
I can't, not today.
So Yolanda, what are some of the things that you do to help you cope with some of the things that you deal with? So I think we're kind of all like on the same page with managing our anxiety and things like that. And so what are some of the things that you may do different than what the other ones have already said?
I go around family more. I leave my house more. At first, I would not leave my house unless somebody was having something, and they'd be like, "You want to go?" And I'd be like, "No." So I get out the house more and visit. Like I almost have a room at my daughter's house. She don't know it yet, but so I'm over here a lot. So I mean, I get out more, and the exercise thing is helpful. I kind of feel guilty when we don't go walk.
Me too.
So we
have
all
that same problem.
Yes, I went running today in the rain. It rained in North Carolina. I went.
Yeah. So yeah. We went out there and sat in the car like, do we want to get wet today?
Yeah.
So it's helpful. And I just recently found out that I have that rheumatoid arthritis. Yeah. So it's like I push myself, and that was one thing the doctor said, you may have some good days, you may have some bad days, but kind of push yourself and don't, because the more I stay still, the more I get stiff. So I have to motivate myself and find encouraging people, other people that will encourage you, and so you won't sit there and mope in whatever's going on in your life. So, and find someone to talk to, somebody else to talk to that can kind of relate or not relate. Sometimes you can just listen to a person and it'll make you feel better about your situation.
Positivity is definitely key. That's really a lot of where I am too. Is just being around positive people, encouraging people. I manage the same way, exercising. And I've told you, this before. I have a little side hustle, and when I get into that little side hustle, I get focused, and it's like I'm focused on that one thing, and nothing else is cluttering my mind, so it's not overwhelming. It can get overwhelming, but I'm focused on that one thing, and nothing else is really entering my space. So that definitely helps, the exercise. And yeah, I sit on somebody's couch. I have no problem with that. I sit on someone's couch and I take the medication, maybe not like I'm supposed to, but I take the medication. But, these are just some of the things that I also do, the same thing that y'all do to help me manage, because you also mentioned, hey, Yolanda.
I just wanted to say something else when you finish.
Oh, but yeah, this is just some of the things, pretty much the same thing that y'all do to help manage and try to keep it under control. Because he segued into something else I was going to bring up. But go ahead real quick, and then I'm going to bring that up, and then we're going to kind of end this conversation, okay? So go ahead, Yolanda, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, have somebody that you can call. Yes. Like when you're having anxiety in the middle of the night, have somebody that you can call in the middle of the night to kind of help you to get it under control.
Really, you throwing me under the bus?
And so you don't. No, I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, because I've called you and had to USA, Yeah. And if you have somebody that you won't have to hold it in, that you can talk to, even whatever time it is, just be there for each other. To bounce around, not to discuss your business or whatever, but just they understand what you're going through. So have a partner.
Right. And I was going to also bring that up. So one of the questions that I was going to bring up was what Dion had led into a few minutes ago, talking about triggers. But I want to kind of bring this up in a different way. What is the scariest thing? What is the scariest thing with y'all when it comes to anxiety or when it comes to mental health issues? What is that one thing that really grips you when it comes to dealing with this? That really, and I'll just say mine. Mine are the triggers, the unknown triggers. I know that stress and exhaustion is a trigger for me. But when I wake up in the middle of the night and I've just gone to bed and I'm thinking to myself that I don't have anything on my mind, I'm not stressed about anything, but I wake up and my mind is just all over the place, and I cannot get my thoughts together. Next thing you know, I don't crawl out of the bed and I'm on the floor and I'm crying. I'm calling out to Jesus, asking Jesus to help me. And I'm calling out, God, please help me. What is wrong with me? What is going on? And, I can find it within myself to pick up the phone and call Yolanda and be like, you got to help me. I can't get my breathing, and having that person. So those unknown triggers is what scared me, to wake up in the middle of the night, not understanding why am I wake up in the middle and my anxiety is already at this high. Or when I get up first thing in the morning and not understanding why is my anxiety, because I literally woke up one morning, anxiety already high, and I go to a full-blown attack on my way to work. Had to pull over. Knowing I had been in that store many a times, but I couldn't tell the person I was talking to on the phone where I was. And then coming down and thinking I'm okay, I can go ahead and drive to work. I still decided to go to work. I can drive to work, and then I feel it coming on again, but yet I still don't know what brought it on. And so I pull over, and I just so happened to pull over where I thought was the hospital, but it was a doctor's office, and the hospital was the next building over. And the lady asked me, and I couldn't tell her where I was. And they kept me overnight because my chest was hurting, because my anxiety was so high. My chest was hurting. They thought I was having a heart attack, and I ended up staying in the hospital overnight. So that's what really scares me when it comes to it, is those triggers that Dion brought up a few minutes ago, that I don't know what is triggering it. Stress, I know triggers mine. Exhaustion, I know triggers mine. But those unknown triggers is what scares me. And when I go and sit on the couch, I can't explain it. I can't explain it. So what are some of the things that really, like grip you or make you fearful when it comes to the issues that you deal with mental health? If there's anything, it may not be anything at all, but if there's anything, what are the ones that really, really kind of send you into a place of confusion or into a tailspin of not understanding?
Mine is death. Strangely, I don't know why, but like I was telling my doctor that I always think about death, and not particularly, like half the time I don't even know these people. I don't even know the situation. It's like I see things and I can't even say that they come to pass, but it's just like I see stuff like that. And so that rises my anxiety. But I would lay there and let the tears flow, and I just say, peace be still, just over and over and over and over and over. Peace be still, peace be still, peace be still. And I just do that over and over and over until I calm myself down.
Wow.
But it's weird because I don't know where it comes from. Yeah. It's nothing that has happened to anyone that I know of. It may, things happen, but that's mine, death.
Wow.
And it's not to harm myself or anything that has to do with myself or my family, but it's just in general people. And I don't know if it's because of TV, maybe I watch too much TV and there's so much stuff going on. I don't know what it's
from. Watch the Hallmark Channel, you won't have that problem. But go
don't nobody want to watch no Hallmark Channel every day.
So Dion, what is, I know you was getting ready to say something, but what were you getting ready to say?
No, my trigger is when, is mainly with family or people that know me, that when I feel them going back and bringing up something negative from the past, and try to flip it like it really don't. You could be having a good conversation and then it jumped to, well, don't you remember when you did? That's when I know that it's time for me to go and cut off the conversation. Because strangely, it seems like the further you move forward in life, is the more people that's closer to you want to remind you of your past in some way or another. So that's really a trigger of mine, that I've learned I learned a coping mechanism because I realized I don't have to talk to you. I can hang up the phone. No, really, I literally
that's true, though.
hang up the phone because at the end of the day, if we want to bring up people's past, everybody got a little something in the closet if we want to do that. But and then I realized that's some people may want to see you back in that same vulnerable spot. Position. And just doing this in general, like facing, like you said, anxiety with in large crowds, and I do a lot of fashion shows and book signings and stuff, and it deals with a lot of people. So how I learned how to manage that is by just facing. Like my heart was beating, about out my chest before we went live on Zoom.
Me too.
So I think the way that I know that the way that I deal with it is by facing.
Yeah.
Is by doing it. Because I realize no one's perfect. There's nothing perfect. But you fail if you don't try.
That's right. That's exactly right. Now, Miss Angela, we're gonna go ahead and tell us what is your fear factor? What is the one thing that makes you very fearful when it comes with dealing with mental health issues?
Going back to the hospital.
Going back to the hospital.
The last time that I ended up in the hospital, I begged. Because I think that depending, we said it, I didn't have insurance. So I didn't end up in one of them nice hospitals that you see on TV and all of that. I ended up in the county or the city, you know, hospital, and they treat people, unfortunately, not everybody, but there are many people that treat you like you're an animal, like you're no, you know, like you're not worth anything. And I think because I do still deal with self-esteem issues and how I feel about myself, it's a work in progress.
We all are.
But I think that has always scared me. And so the last incident, which you two know, I was tired. I was going through some major emotional issues. My world was changing rapidly. My whole world was changing rapidly. And I remember my mother saying she was going to call the police. And I lost it. I even lost it worse than I had already lost it because I didn't want to go to that hospital. And because of the stigma that's behind getting help. So that's why I try, like I said earlier, I'm definitely in my word all the time because I need some help, and that's my help. The Holy Spirit is my help. But and definitely I think about that scripture. I tell my scripture, like she said, like Yolanda said, peace be still. But I'm always saying, I'm looking to the hill which cometh my help. And that's where I, you know, but it does. Being back in the hospital, I never want to go back there. So if anything I can do to make sure that I'm not back in the hospital, that's what I'm gonna do. And so I do the hard stuff. The hard stuff. This is hard.
But it's necessary.
Hard but necessary, right?
Hard but necessary.
But I do that because in my mind, I'm like, you know what? Whatever I have to do, I'm not a stuffer anymore. If I don't like it, I tell you I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't hold it in anymore. If you hurt my feelings, you're going to know. I'm going to tell you, you hurt my feelings instead of stuffing it. And it ends up hurting me more than it's hurting anybody else because I end up back in the hospital. So guess what? If you upset me, you make me mad, you hurt my feelings, you say something I don't like, I'm going to tell you. And whether you like it or not, or whether you like the way I present it, I know that I'm doing that self-care for me because that's the only way I can be good for anyone else.
Self-care is very, very important. No one can take care of you other than God like you can. And, you know, just hearing you guys' thought process and just hearing you guys just freely talk about this, it opens up the doors for other conversations to be had. It's a hard conversation to have. It is a very hard conversation. It is a very hard conversation to have, especially in this type of environment. Social media, you know, because, you know, people judge, okay? People judge, but let them judge. We're being transparent. We're not afraid to talk about what it is that we deal with. And we're not afraid to say we need help and we get help, okay? So if this conversation helps anyone, then we've done what it is that we're supposed to do. And it's all about having a conversation. We're not here for a pity party or anything like that. Too many people are going without help. Too many people feel that suicide is the answer. Suicide is not the answer. We've been there. We've had the thoughts. We've done the acts. You know, people on this panel have done the act. Slit the wrist, 800 people, 800 pills. We've had the thoughts of suicide. What if I do this? You know, then nobody would have to worry about me no more, okay? We've had the thoughts. Suicide is not the answer. There is help out there if you need to get help. Please get help. If you go to my blog, it's mind-boggling. That is the name of my personal blog page. And you click on that call now, it takes you to the MHA, the Mental Health of America, the MHA, okay? It doesn't call, you don't call me. You don't call me, but you can inbox me and say, Janet, I need somebody to talk to, and I'll talk to you. You know, I'm just like I'm sure any of the rest of us will, but it takes you to someone that can get you some help and lead you in the right direction. I mentioned earlier that Mr. Dion is an author. He has a nonprofit organization called Failure's Not an Option. And Dion, where your book at? Hold your book up. And he is the author of, look at, he's so suave, so debonair. Look at, and he is the author of Failure's Not an Option. Dion, just tell us real quick a little bit about your book.
My book, it touched on, of course, mental health, because I'm an advocate for domestic violence too as well. And it just is for women to understand their son, their father, or their significant other. And it's just good literature for understanding. And it'll help the women understand the men, help the men know that it's all right when you're dealing with these things and that change can happen.
That's good. So,
but you got to change yourself first. You got to change
self-care. Exactly. So Dion, I'm just going to highlight one or two more things. Dion, if you're in the Sanford, North Carolina area, Dion is also having an event this weekend for back to school supplies, right? And Dion, can you tell us where they can drop off the school supplies at?
You could drop them off at the in Sanford, North Carolina at the Piggly Wiggly or Reed's Barbershop, or you can send a donation to get the to help get the supplies as well. So what we're doing, I have a couple of educators on my board, and I didn't realize that the kids still needed notepads and pencils and all that stuff because I thought that they were just using the computer. But so I feel as though it's our duty as a community to do that for our youth, right? And not the government and not the social service or whatever things that are there. I feel like that's my organization called to do that because we actually go into the neighborhoods that a lot of people don't want to go.
Yeah. So Dion, your book can be purchased on Amazon?
Yeah, on Amazon, on Kindle.
Okay.
Or just look for it. Yeah.
I'm still waiting on mine. I'm still waiting on my book.
All right. Yes, I see you soon though.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So so if you guys in the Sanford, North Carolina area, you can inbox Dion, say how can I help, because we want to make sure that our kids and y'all listen. And I think everybody on this panel will agree with everything that is going on right now, with life not being as normal for us, but especially for our children. Pay close attention to them. Pay very, very close attention to our children, to your children, to these kids that graduated from high school, that college is not the same. Pay close attention to them. Even if they don't want to talk about it, ask, are you okay? Is there anything you want to talk about? Is there anything that you want to deal with? Because our life is not the norm anymore. And with COVID-19 going on and social unrest going on, it's a lot that we are dealing with out here in this world. People that deal with mental health issues, reach out to them, ask them if they are okay. Let them know that they are not alone, okay? You don't want to go to Walmart, I'll go to Walmart for you. I refuse to go to Walmart, okay?
No, she won't. No, she won't.
I refuse to go to Walmart, but reach out, y'all. This is, we're laughing, but it is serious. Mental health is a serious issue, especially in our community. And we cannot be afraid to have a conversation. We cannot hold back what we're feeling inside to the point to where we feel as though the only way that we can get past what we're dealing with is to commit suicide. That right there, that cycle is what we need to break. And the only way that we can break this cycle is to start having conversations, okay? Now, I know Angela has an event coming up in the Houston area. Angela, you want to tell us real quick about your event?
It's mental health, the church and mental health. It's going to be a one-day conference. We'll be doing registration for in-house and also to be available on Zoom and Facebook. But it's really just to start a conversation within our churches. The church is supposed to be a hospital. So we have to make sure that we're dealing with every illness whether it's mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And there's a lot of, like you said, it's a lot of teenagers and young adults and kids, 10 years old. Right now, the highest point of suicide is 10-year-old kids. And they don't have any, unfortunately, some of us, I'm not going to say all the church because I will not ever say that, but some of the body of Christ is, kind of condemning people who may take medicine, or they'll say you don't have enough faith or something like that. And that conversation needs to be eliminated. Yeah. And that's just how I feel about it. It just needs to, that type of conversation needs to be eliminated, because I know God is bigger than anything. So he's bigger than my medicine.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at that.
When is yours?
Mine is November 7th, 2020. It's gonna be 600 Kendrick Road here in Houston, Texas, out by Bush-Hamilton Airport. I believe the name of the church is Fresh Fire International. I'll be posting some more about it really soon, like as in tomorrow.
Yes.
But it'll be 10 to 1, and you definitely, anybody that has questions, will have resources as well as a therapist there. So
awesome. So I definitely appreciate you guys coming on here. This is my first conversation in my personal blog. It's mind-blowing. There will be more conversations to come, but I just wanted to have a conversation amongst friends to let y'all know we're not crazy. Okay, so
nope.
Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I definitely appreciate it. I know this is not Tamron Hall's show or Ellen DeGeneres or
it's better.
Oprah Winfrey.
Right. It's better.
Those people, Taraji P. Henson. But I'm glad that y'all took the opportunity to come on here and tell y'all story, because we just hope that these conversations help somebody. That's all we want to do, is to help someone to not be afraid to open up and have a conversation. Dion, you know I love you. You know I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on and tell. I've heard your story, but just to hear it again, I'm like, wow. So thank you so much for being so very transparent, especially as an African-American man, and talking about what you have dealt with. Angela, thank you for being transparent and talking about suicidal attempt, because people don't want to talk about that. Yolanda, thank you so much for coming on here and talking about what you are afraid of the most, and that's death. Okay, so thank you so much for talking about, telling your story. When you said the unknown, depression, that statement that you made, that was such a powerful statement. So I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all for doing. Who's going to say something? Dion?
Me, I was about to say, Janet, we thank you for even building the platform and setting up it's mind-boggling and telling, emotional, and telling your story, because if you didn't, that's me, y'all know that. If you didn't present this, I wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing now. The reason I did is because of you, because you stepped out in faith. And you had the courage to talk about yours and to do something about it. And that gave me the courage to finally, even though I've been talking about it, to finally say, you know what, that's it. And of course, y'all know I love y'all.
I love my suspects too. All right, y'all, we went past that hour. Dion, you got a last word?
Yeah, I wish that, I pray that after people see this, that more men, that it could be a panel of all men.
Work it out, Dion. I already see.
Look, not saying anything about Yolanda or Angela. I'm just saying that.
No, we need it.
I think that more men need to be more transparent about the mental health. It doesn't
Dion,
make you weak.
I already see you working that panel out. Go ahead, work it out. Yeah. I see you working it out already. I already see. Yolanda, you got last word? Before the benediction, you got last word?
No, my grandkids are in the other room.
All right, y'all. We're going to close this out. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're asking one from another. You guys have a great night. Thank y'all so very much for joining. If you're on Facebook and you join our Zoom, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Please go out and like and follow It's mind-boggling. All right. Y'all have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Dion.
All right.